After a long and I'm sure exhausting month of January for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs, the dead period is right around the corner. But first, they have this final weekend to host some top targets on campus and some of the best prospects across the country, and a lot of new Georgia targets will be in town for another massive Junior Day weekend in Athens, Georgia. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. There's a lot of recruiting going on. It is the off season and recruiting still matters. So we're going to talk about it because they've got some elite prospects heading to the Classic City right now. If you're watching this, they are on campus right now. And the big target that I've talked about in the past, if you haven't followed my work, if you're not a Dawg Post member, maybe you know this guy, maybe you don't, but Derek Cooper is one of the best players across the country in the 2026 class. He's out of South Florida, was a former Georgia commitment, I believe, back in the summer for maybe 48 hours, but this is a do-it-all athlete from Chaminade Prep. He's the number 2 running back prospect in the country and a top 30 prospect overall in the country, okay? So this kid's elite, but he can do a little bit of everything. As I said, he's the number 2 running back prospect in the country, so he's an outstanding ball carrier. But this guy can line up at wide receiver, catch passes. He plays defense, special teams. Wherever this kid's lined up, he's going to make a play. At running back, he ran for 905 yards against really good competition in South Florida. 13 touchdowns. Defensively, he made 46 tackles, 10 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 blocked kicks. There's a reason this guy is elite, and Georgia likes him at running back, but he's a versatile guy. He is a Swiss Army knife type of player. I know that term is used a lot, but this kid, Derek Cooper, is absolutely that type of prospect. Look for Georgia to absolutely roll out the red carpet for this young man. Basically, everyone is after him. Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Miami's going to be a team that I think is going to be in the mix the entire way. So everyone wants him. Georgia is in a pretty good spot. Again, they did have him on the commit list. We'll see if they can build some momentum in his recruitment. Josh Crawford needs elite running backs in this class. I talked about that in another video. They just took 1 in Bo Walker in the 25 class. They have a chance to sign at least 1, possibly 2 truly game-changing elite running backs. Derek Cooper is one of them. So this is a massive, massive visit. So he is on campus right now as you're watching this video on Saturday. Big, big deal, and a guy that Georgia fans need to keep a close eye on. There's a few in-state targets in town as well. A guy that Georgia fans may not know a ton about is Peyton Dyer, mainly because he's committed to South Carolina, but he's just a 3-star. I know Georgia fans kind of, look down on the 3-star prospects. They shouldn't, but it happens. When you sign an elite class every single year and you're one of the top 2-3 recruiting classes, 3 stars aren't going to excite the Georgia fans, but this kid can play. He plays out of Duluth, 6'1", 190, so he's a big cornerback. Made 70 tackles last year for Duluth. Just 1 interception because no one wanted to throw his way. 2 forced fumbles, 12 pass deflections, though. So when quarterbacks tried throwing it against him, dude's swatting it away. He covers a lot of ground. Again, 6'1", 190. He's big. He's lengthy. He's instinctual. And he knows how to tackle. He knows how to wrap up and be physical in the run game. He's going to be in town right now. I'm making this Friday, so I keep saying this weekend. You're watching this on Saturday. So again, these players are taking their visit right now. And he's a guy who, Duluth is pretty close to Athens. So he's a local kid that's currently committed to South Carolina. But if Georgia turns up the heat on this young man, I can definitely see things getting interesting. He's the number 23 cornerback prospect in the country, number 355 overall. But again, these outlets out there, they make their rankings like every 2 months. They update it. Got to get people clicking on the website, right? Got to get people interested in the ranking. So they will be updated, and I expect his ranking to increase from where it's at right now. But he's a big-time defensive back from the state that I don't think Georgia fans really know a ton about. But they offered him in September, and they had a coach go see him, take a visit, see him at his school earlier this month. So he is a guy that they are recruiting. And again, I'm just sharing a few guys on this video right now, but we've got the big list over on Dawg Post. If you're not on Dawg Post, you're not fully updated on the Dogs, on the recruiting trail, everything, all right? So I've got plenty of recruiting notes over on Dawg Post. You can read about all of these players and more. I'm not going to give the entire list here because I want y'all to read it over on the website. But Derek Cooper's a big deal. Peyton Dyer is a big deal. Tyreek Green is an impressive defensive back who plays at Buford. But Georgia offered him early. I think they may have offered him when he was a freshman with the Kell Longhorns. He's playing for Buford now and is coming off a really, really strong junior season for the Wolves, where at running back, he ran for 527 yards, 8 touchdowns, which is, respectable. He was sharing the load offensively, but defensively, the 5'11", 190-pounder made 28 tackles and picked off 5 passes. When the ball was in the air, this kid's trying to go get it. He is a big-time playmaker, shifty, elusive, but he's got burst, acceleration, ball skills, and I definitely see why Georgia offered him early in the process. So he's been around a while on the recruiting trail. He's got a lot of offers. Georgia went and checked up on him at Buford just the other day, earlier this last week. So he's another guy that they, definitely have an eye or two on. Local kid. I mean, is Buford local? Let's call it Athens area, maybe outside of the Athens area. Anyway, it's probably an hour away from campus. So he's a guy that I think Georgia fans should keep a close eye on. Again, 5'11", 190. But he is a pure athlete who can play all over the field. He's the number 9 athlete in the country, the number 165 overall prospect in the country in the 26 class. And again, he got that visit from Coach Travaris Robinson earlier last week. So another kind of local kid that I think Georgia fans should know about. Moving right along, Craig Dandridge Jr. He is a big-time wide receiver that Georgia offered just a couple days ago. He's out of Cambridge High School in Alpharetta. Kind of close to where I am. I know that area very well, and that staff is really turning that program around. They came from Walton, and they were a passing machine at Cambridge, and this guy was a big reason why he caught 58 passes for 1,443 yards, 14 touchdowns. Georgia offered him. He's one of the fastest, rising wide receivers in the state of Georgia, and he will be back on campus this weekend. So right now, he's on campus right now. I asked him when he got that Georgia offer, I believe it was on Thursday, like, hey, what do you know about the program? You're a Georgia kid. What do you like about the Dogs? And he was honest. He was like, I don't really know a ton about the program. So he said, I'm excited to get over there on Saturday and find out more. I'm glad they offered me. I'm happy about it, but I want to dig into them more and get a feel of who they are. So even though Georgia's, the big in-state program at the college level, this young man is still doing his research and wants to check in on the Dogs. So he's getting a good glimpse of Athens right now. 6'1", 175, but a really good route runner, strong hands, just make plays. I mean, when you go over 1,400 yards receiving, 14 touchdowns, again, against quality competition in the metro Atlanta area, that says a lot. Georgia went to check on him, offered him, and we'll see where things go. So he is a 2026 wide receiver in the state to just keep an eye on. Carter Lucky is another, he's a Gwinnett County kid, but he's another in-state target, is what I'm trying to say. Obviously, a Georgia legacy. His brother, Lawson Lucky, is coming off a sophomore season where he took a step forward. And I think we're going to see more of Lawson Lucky this year. But Carter Lucky is a 2026 defensive lineman, 6'5", 250. So he's a little bigger than Lawson. 51 tackles, 24 tackles for a loss for Norcross, just 2 sacks, according to Max Preps. But again, 24 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Those are drive killers, right? So this guy lived in the backfield. He's big, he's physical, he's the number 29 defensive line prospect in the country, number 270 overall. So again, that ranking is not going to really excite a lot of Georgia fans. They want the 5 stars, especially on the defensive line. Totally get it. That's what they're used to. That's what Georgia needs to do. They need elite players on the defensive line. But Carter Lucky is a solid 4-star who's coming off a really productive junior season. He's got size, he's a legacy, he's got a Georgia offer, and offers keep flooding in. So he is a Norcross native to keep a close eye on. And again, he's a Bulldog legacy, so definitely one to remember for the next several months. Another guy I want to talk about, Malcolm Gaston, 6'5", 330-pound offensive lineman from, I believe, South Carolina. Now, his ranking is definitely not going to impress a lot of Georgia fans. Number 41 interior offensive lineman in the country, ranked number 455 overall. But this is a guy that, Georgia went and checked on at his school this month, wanted to get him on campus, and they have him on campus right now. So this is a guy where I wouldn't necessarily worry about the ranking. The Georgia staff likes him. They turn on the film and they said, hey, we're going to offer this kid. We're going to go visit this kid. We're going to get this kid on campus. So definitely a guy to keep an eye on for sure. And again, 6'5", 330. So he's built well, he's physical, he can play on the interior, and he's a kid out of state, offensive lineman to keep an eye on. Now, Georgia's still working on the recruiting board, right? Offers are going out all across the country. And this spring, I think, in the summer when official visit starts, that's where they're going to be kind of picking and choosing. They know who their top guys are at every position group because they've offered them a while ago. And you can just tell, right? Just speaking with coaches, trainers, kids themselves, parents, Georgia coaches. So we've got a good eye on who Georgia's top targets are. And of course, you can read all of this over on Dawg Post, but new prospects are always emerging. And there's always guys that they offer in the summer when they work out for the staff on campus, going through drills, going through different types of stuff. And Georgia offers them in the summer, push for them and get a commitment out of them. That happens all the time, and I'm sure it will happen in this class too. But when offers go out in January, that's when Georgia's like, okay, we like you, we're adding you to the recruiting board. We don't know where you're at on the recruiting board just yet, but we see you, you're productive, we like your game, you're coming off a strong season, and we're definitely gonna keep an eye on you. Here's an offer, we're gonna get you back on campus and evaluate you more. So that's what's going on. But again, these aren't the only guys. There's a really big list. I'm going to add to the story over on Dawg Post, just adding names as we confirm them. But massive recruiting weekend for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs because the dead period, I believe, starts on Monday. So big day today with everyone on campus. And we'll see how many stick around on Sunday. Maybe some of the local kids might hang around, but it was a massive month of January. And again, you can read a lot more updates over on Dawg Post, and it's a big day today. So yeah, just wanted to get a visitor list out there for you. But the bigger one, of course, is over on the website, dawgpost.com. Make sure you're checking that out. Really appreciate y'all watching this video. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you over on the website.